Good evening, everyone. Futures Brizio here, 9:16 p.m. on Wednesday, June 26th. Hope everybody had a great day. And I know it's late, but I've been out since early this afternoon. And just want to make a quick recap from today and just show you again some of what happened today and just looking at these Heiken Ashi Smooth charts. I did the video last night comparing Heiken Ashi to Heiken Ashi Smooth and some of the plus and minuses to both of them. So go back and watch that if you didn't see it. But without further ado, let's get into this. Oh, and by the way, before we start, make sure you smash that like button. Really helps the YouTube algorithm. And of course, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell notification. You should see something down the lower right hand corner to subscribe, and make sure that you do that so you get notified when I post content, which is no more than a couple of times a week on average. And again, nothing is ever for sale on this channel. No courses, no signals, no nothing, not affiliate marketing for anything. So it's just my opinion and giving you some things to think about, and that's all it is. So I hope you enjoy it. And questions, comments, leave them down below. And let's just get right into it. So we'll start off on gold. And so this yellow line right here, this is the 10-minute chart, represents 7 a.m. New York time. And the reason why I'm using that, hold on guys, my microphone is like almost ready to fall here. I gotta find a better place to put this thing. So, yeah, I apologize. So in regards to gold, so this line you see on the chart here represents 7 a.m. New York City time, and which is about the time I start looking at the charts. And you can see coming into the session here, from the overnight session, we were just kind of mostly sideways, maybe trending down a little bit. Typical overnight, just kind of low volume trading during the overnight session. And but you can see this nice resistance level, supply level, whatever you want to call it, sitting right here. And the Heiken Ashi Smooth is very excellent at calling these out, because again, like I told about yesterday, you'll see these candles with very small body with wicks on both sides, in these pullback areas. It's a great place to target entries. And so we had price come out of there just before 7 a.m., headed down, and then we quickly rallied back. And look, it rallied beautiful right back into that zone. We painted these final two bullish candles, and then we had this bear candle. That was an entry. I actually took this trade today all the way down. It was a beautiful trade. It was about 8% of my account just on that trade alone. If we go to the 5-minute, there it is on the 5. Again, I had this area marked off, and you see price, and as it runs up to this area, notice what happens to the Heiken Ashi candles. They get smaller, but more importantly, you start to see these wicks form on both sides, indicating a slowdown of the price momentum. And you can see over here where it happened before this leg down. And of course, this was the most recent low put in, so therefore this becomes our valid swing point. So price comes up, and then anywhere in here on the 5-minute, we had this candle paint. There was your entry. Stop above this line, because that's where the candlestick's actually painted. We turn on the candles, you can see the wicks right here. So your stop would have been somewhere right above there, and you just ride this thing down until you get a blue candle, and which didn't happen until all the way down here. And then the price just kind of went sideways the rest of the day. So that was gold. Super nice trade. And, there you go. So on the Dow, this is the MYM. This is the Dow futures. I did not trade this, and I'm really kind of bummed because you can see I had this line drawn here, but all of this has happened in the overnight session, which I don't trade. So it is what it is. But in just looking at the market structure, here was 7 a.m. and this is the 30-minute chart, because I had to zoom out a little bit to find a really good area, but there it is. You can clearly see it. I drew this rectangle earlier today, and price ran right back into it. It did go sideways for several hours, You can see, but again, notice the candles, right? These candles with small bodies, wicks on both sides. So clearly, as it came back up here, the Heiken Ashi Smooth is showing you this is an area price is having a hard time breaking through. And then eventually we did start painting red candles. We eventually broke this level, which is a level on the shorter time frame. This is, I think, like a 5-minute zone. Yeah, so there's the 5-minute. And again, we had this little zone. We had this level right here. Price came down, tagged this, so I drew this line in here. And then the price began to fall off, and here we are in the overnight session, still going down. I don't trade this session, so I don't really care what it does now. I'm not getting in, but it just, I really just wanted to show you, again, how easily you can kind of read market structure with these Heiken Ashi Smooth. Now, when it came back up here, this was very impulsive, right? So people were like, well, why don't you trade this move back up here? And you absolutely could. You could go to like a 1-minute time frame, or maybe even a 5-minute, but certainly down the 1 minute, and you could trade this counter trend trade with a target back up at this level. You certainly could do that. I did not do that. I generally don't. I like to wait for the moves in the direction of the trend, but there's nothing that would have stopped you from going to a really short time frame, entering here and trading this thing all the way back up with a target back in the zone. That would have been a great trade, to be honest. So if we mark this area off, let's just look at that on a shorter time frame. We'll go to the 1 minute, and let me just turn off my scroll. Okay, so here's that move up. Okay, and we had impulsive moves up here. Again, Heiken Ashi Smooth, weak price action. Now the question, of course, becomes, where do you enter these counter trend trades so that you have a good chance of them working out and not just be caught on the wrong side of a correction? Well, again, if you look at market structure, this is the 1 minute time frame. I can't go any lower than this. This really was the last leg down. So if we kind of extrapolate out here, and you can see what happened. Price came to this level. It actually broke through, but it quickly, and then it rolled over, and so people thought, okay, this is a chance to go short again, and this is, where it fools you, and then it kept going up. So you would have missed about half of this move if had you gotten in about here. You would have got about half, but half of it had already ended. And if you had tried to go short here, thinking you were going to catch this downtrend resuming, you would have been wrong, and this kept going up. And that's part of the reason why I don't take those trades, because it is against the trend. You have to go to a short time frame to find it, and it's just a little bit of a risk. To me, it's a little bit more risk because the momentum was clearly down, and this is really just counter trend, profit taking, buyers thinking they're going to take over, whatever you want to call it. I have no idea why it went back up. It's the buyers. There were more buyers than sellers. That's why it went up. Why that is, I don't know. I don't think this was news driven. It would have been much more impulsive if it was news driven. So whether it was just short covering, people that were short taking profits getting out, or whether it was the buyers trying to run it back, I have no idea, and it doesn't matter. But this is why I don't always, I don't generally do these, because I just find when I go down to the 5 minute, to me is plenty short enough. I can get plenty of opportunities on the 5, and I just think going down to the 1, I don't know. To me, it's just a little bit of overkill, and I don't really think it's necessary. So, but you certainly could have done it, right? You as soon as any of this structure was taken out, you could have traded it. But this was the best structure level, and that would have left half of this move on the table before you got in. So, anyways, but that's the Dow, and but going back to the higher time frames, put the scroll back on here. You can see that the downtrend did resume, which is certainly more impulsive. Even during the overnight hours, this is a pretty good move, considering this is the off-market hours, and price doesn't usually do very much. It's actually pretty darn good move there, considering it's off-market hours. So, but that just shows you the power of the main trend. All right. All right. Then lastly, we'll look over at copper. So again, coming into the session at 7, we were pushing up here, but again, we've clearly been in a downtrend. This was our level prior to this last move down, because you can see coming into the session, this we put in this new low. So this area over here, I can move this, was where I had this line originally. You can see we did not get back to it. Now this is one where, hey, it went down. And I did take this trade. I got out a little too soon on it. I think I got out like at this level right here, and it did keep going down. But again, as I mentioned at the beginning, I headed out this afternoon. I just didn't feel comfortable leaving it running, but I obviously could have. But it went down for about another 30 or 40 minutes, and that was about it. So it would have reversed on me, and I would have ended up basically giving back most of what I made anyway. So I am glad I cut it. If I was home, I would have let it run. But anyways, now the thing on this one is that it did not run all the way back up to this resistance zone up here. It peaked out here, but again, I'm going to point to the Heiken Ashi candlesticks. Look at these candlesticks, these last 2 or 3 that formed, with giant wicks on both sides, indicating that there was a lot of selling pressure at this level again. Okay, if we turn on the candlesticks for a second, you can actually see the candlesticks, actual wicks on the candlesticks, actually did get almost back to the top here. And this is what I said yesterday, that you still have to look at your candlesticks. I don't keep them on. I look at them just to kind of see, okay, where did price actually go? And again, I use them for stop loss, take profit levels, and market structure areas. The Heiken Ashi Smooth is my primary tool, but you can see, even though the Heiken Ashi sticks didn't get back up here, the main candlesticks, the regular sticks came back here. So I felt very comfortable taking that, because we had 2 rejections way up here. And even though they didn't show on the Heiken Ashi, but the Heiken Ashi did show these giant wicks. Okay, and then we painted this bear candle right here after after this half hour or so of these, and then boom, we had this red candle. And down on the 5-minute, let's see what that looks like on the 5. And there, actually, the entry was even a little quicker on the 5, because we had price run up, and we had this big rejection. And then we had these, on the 5-minute, these bear candles with these big wicks. So anywhere in here would have been a good entry. Okay, and then price went down, made a new low. And then here we are in the overnight session. Had gone back up late in the day into the overnight. So now I'll move this line back here, because now this becomes our new swing, because we made a new low off of there. And let's move this up to about where the wick is. So there's our kind of our swing area. Turn off the candlesticks now. So even though I know that looks a little weird, but again, you got to remember that's where the actual candles are, and that's how I like to mark it. Now price may not get all the way there, but I will watch the price action. Now if this is going to go down, it's probably going to happen while I'm asleep tonight, so that's perfectly fine. I'll pick this up tomorrow and see where it's at, and I may have to adjust this. But again, the point is just to see, how well the Heiken Ashi candlesticks kind of warned you that this was an area, whether you're looking on the 5-minute or the 10-minute chart, this was an area to look to get back into the short. And sure enough, it went down, made a nice move, and put in a new low earlier today. Okay? And this low got put in around 10 a.m. this morning. So this was a pretty quick move on the day, and then it kind of went up the rest of the day. And again, this is an area right here, similar to what we saw in gold, where you could have traded this move back up, because this happened pretty early in the day. I mean, this candle right here is like, this is around like 11 o'clock this morning. So you still had the rest of the day. So if we go to the 1-minute, and we look at that little uptrend. Here's that area on the 1 minute chart. And again, not real plain to see where a good level would have been to enter this trade in terms of a level to breach down here. Obviously, you couldn't wait for this all the way up here. But you do see right here, we put in this higher low right here. You know, we kind of actually put in a higher low right here, right? And then price went up, made another higher low. So anywhere in here would have been a decent entry to take this thing long. And if I was in this, I'd be looking to target this back up towards these highs, back towards this trend line up here. And that's ultimately where I think it will go at a minimum. Whether that happens overnight tonight or during the early session tomorrow, I don't know. But that's what I'm looking forward to, this to come up and re-challenge these highs over here somewhere. Okay. So again, counter trend, you certainly could have taken this on a 1 minute chart when that started to reverse. But, you know, in hindsight, yeah, it looks really good. But at the time, you know, hard to say. But, but even here on the 5 minute, we put in this higher low right here. So even if you wanted to stick to the 5 minute, you had this push up. But on the 5 minute, it might have looked like it was going to go back down, right? Because we had wicked, you know, we have all these wicks on the bullish candles, and then right here you may have been like, oh, okay, the downtrend's starting again, and then nope, you got fooled. So that's why, you know, if I'm going to catch a move in the direction of the trend like this, once I'm out of it, I'm done. I'm not going to trade that asset again for the day, because, you know, once it starts getting late in the morning towards noontime and certainly afternoon, there's just no point. And again, I'm not saying you couldn't trade this counter trend on the 1 minute or the 5 minute, but the trend is down. There's no doubt. And, you know, all of this is probably just counter trend and corrective. And eventually this will, if the downtrend's still in place, it eventually will roll over and keep going down. And I'm willing to wait until that happens before I re-enter another position. Okay. So, you know, but people do ask me, like, well, you know, which time frame are you looking at to try to figure out what you want to do? Well, again, it depends on what your horizon is, and a correction on the 5 minute time frame could be a trend on the 1 minute, and you certainly can trade that. But again, I'm just looking at, you know, where is the trend on that little bit higher time frame, 10, 15, maybe even up to the hourly time frame. I'm looking at what the actual trend is. And I would rather position myself on the side of the trend if I can. And if that means I miss a counter trend trade like this, or like we saw in gold, then so be it. So, but you know what? That's, you know, a decision you have to make based on your comfort level and your trading experience and the type of risk you're willing to take on. And the last thing you want to do is have a really excellent trade early in the day in the direction of the trend, and then you get greedy and you try to grab a counter trend trade, and, you know, later in the session in the afternoon, and you end up giving back, you know, a lot, if not all, your profits. And is that really worth it? Because you wanted to be greedy. So, and greed is a very real emotion in trading, just like fear is. So anyways, so that's it, guys. I'll try to be back tomorrow, do a wrap. Again, guys, I'm willing to do a live stream in the morning, but I've asked the question before and I haven't gotten any takers, so I'm not going to do it. There's absolutely no point. I'm perfectly happy just being by myself trading. But, you know, I'm happy to kind of do a live update in the morning on where things are and what I'm looking for. I go into each session really with no bias. When I turn on my screen in the morning, I want to see what it did overnight and start marking out levels. And by then, the overnight session is, and the London session, which can affect these markets, the European session does affect all these markets, is well underway, and by then I can hopefully start marking out levels for my session, which, you know, I'm willing to take trades anytime after 7 or 8 o'clock New York time. So, all right. So anyways, guys, any questions or comments, again, leave them down below. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And with that, I will bid you guys a great night, and we'll talk to you very soon. All right. Thanks, guys.